On this episode, we'll be reviewing one of the most exceptional bronze timers in the market today. In our blueprint segment, we'll be discussing Zelos' now iconic Hammerhead design. And finally, in your viewer comments, we'll be addressing one of the first real hand issues with the DWH 5600, and we'll be banning a couple of you along the way. Well, you had it coming, so prepare for it. Before we begin, while Paul Thorpe is actively focusing on a very important issue of crime related to horology and many expensive timepieces, there is a growing number of concern that is being neglected, and that is the enormous amount of watch content available to us in YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere else. And along with this is the growing issue of eye bags on your eyes. If you look at Master Watch's latest video wherein he talked about his favorite YouTube channels, including yours truly in this channel, we notice that he also is suffering from this eye bag issue. And that's why we partnered with Horology Story to develop this revolutionary product that would truly resolve all of these pesky eye bag issues, and you can go back to consuming more watch content. And that is the Horology Story Restoration Cream. Well, what does it restore? Well, it restores the youth on your specific part of your face, which is the eyelids. That's the only part that it works in. You can apply it on any other part, but it's not gonna work, okay? So that's a little disclaimer there. But nevertheless, it's a revolutionary product, and you can see from Adrian's development from before and after, you could see the clear difference with just a few uses of what this cream can do to your face. Now, while other medicines have a long list of side effects that they list while you're using their product, we at Horology Story and Design Atelier are going the extra mile. We're going to ship you the whole list in this one carefully crafted pamphlet, so you can freely read all of these side effects whenever you have the time. You can be one of the first guinea pigs or first loyal customers that can enjoy this wonderful medical breakthrough and get rid of those eye bags and go back to watching more watch content. Christopher Ward. Whenever we mention that name, it's becoming now synonymous with innovation, budget-friendly watches, and exceptional refinement and quality that is almost not in the area of Microbrands anymore. And that is just because of all of the collections that they've been releasing in the past few months. But can they dive also into the exotic material arena? Well, we'll find out with the Christopher Ward C65 Dune. This video is brought to you by Christopher Ward. You can't tell from there, but I have a big grin on my face right now. There's a special appeal that bronze has that I don't typically enjoy, but this is one of those anti-typical times. This looks so good, I don't even want to talk about values. But hold on to your horses, there's a lot of values on this one. The new Christopher Ward Dune is this British brand's attempt to make the most beautiful and interesting field watch you have ever seen, and it's all thanks to that very tight design and incredible quality. It all starts with that light catcher case design. This keeps everything compact and visually appealing. I've talked about it before, and it never gets old every time I handle one. On my small wrist, I'm sure you'll find a way to tell me that the Dune is too big for it, but I could care much less. It wears comfortable, and I'm going to wear this as much as I could. The fabric strap that it came with is great, but I love my Selkoff bands, and this pairs very well with it, making it more toolish in form. If that doesn't bring you the feels, you can always give a good fabric NATO some fair shake with this Dune. Field watches have always worked well with NATO straps, and this one from Artem is no exception. The Dune also comes with its full bronze bracelet variant, which is also great. Aesthetically, the Dune is one pretty beater that you can be proud to wear. It's got more in store, however, once you take a good look or two. The C65 has much more to love, and one that I could really appreciate is that crown indicator. Whenever the crown is pulled, a red ring is visible as a visual reminder to lock your crown. I've learned enough to never leave my crown unscrewed, but it's a good subtle touch that brings a class to this hard-working piece. The movement is also crisp to operate, as this is a regulated Sellita caliber and not your usual Seiko or Miyota movement. All of the mentioned movements are great quality workhorses and are easy to service, but the smoother winding and clear clicks on the date change of the SW200 will win over many. Let's prove that case a bit. Here's a competing Zelos Aurora. Both are built for the great outdoors, but one has more poise while the other is meant to do much more heavy lifting. Both are 38mm, but the Aurora looks raw and unrefined beside the bronze light catcher case. Well, it better be, because the C65 looks and costs twice as much. First, the box sapphire crystal just gives that classic appearance with all of the scratch resistance that we love. Then the case gives an amazing texture that's unique to you. This model was already worn a bit, and I could see the patina starting to cover the case. I'm not always a fan of bronze watches, but this case still has those pleasing chamfers that shine through the patina. A great touch is the bronze buckle and bronze stitching that matches the overall design. There's a steel case back frame with a large sapphire display that ensures you can see more of the caliber and have the least bronze touching your skin. On the dial side, Christopher Ward continues to show its design experience. The new logo is just a winner compared to its previous iterations, and it's also a visual spectacle with its volume and sparkle. It nicely matches all of the beveled indexes that also sits over this lovely beach grass dial. Remember, this is a proper Swiss-made watch and one of the only COSC certified bronze watches available in the market. If it wasn't obvious yet, this bronze diver is refined as could be without breaking the bank. Well, not so much. It can offer the best of what Swiss can deliver at a fraction of a Tudor Black Bay bronze, while offering a lot more against the Longines Legend Diver or an Oris Diver 65. While others focus on the warmth of the case as their main attraction, Christopher Ward also worked on their movement, something that is truly worthy of displaying. You can say it's a craft unto itself, trying to convince people that bronze is awesome. In our information age, we all know that there's a wealth of options available. So then, why choose a C65 bronze field watch? Well, because it's designed to be better. It feels at home at any situation, and it's from one of the hottest brands of our generation. Now, give me a pat on the back because I delivered that review with a big grin on my face. And that is the C65 Dune from Christopher Ward. It's got that unique combination of a bronze light catcher case and a COSC certified movement inside. So if you're looking for a unique field watch, then the C65 Dune might just be the one for you. You know, I always say that, it might just be the one for you. But it really is a very appealing field watch that's unique. You don't see that often, and it's actually pretty affordable. If you look at that price range, the value is there, and it's a Christopher Ward. It's a brand cachet that's now starting to level up with every new collection that they're releasing. They're innovative, they have a refinement to it, and there's just a very loyal fan base now that's loudly expressing their love for this brand, and you may be a lover too in due time. Now, speaking of a fan base, Zelos is one of those watch brands that revolves around a very good fan base. But this fan base was built around a very unique design as well. And I've always said it in this channel with the countless Zelos that I've reviewed before, that one of the most iconic watch designs that they've ever had was the Hammerhead. And here's a reason why. Zelos is becoming now an iconic brand with this iconic design. Zelos set the tables nicely, with the specifications being 44mm in diameter and 48mm in lug-to-lug distance. The case thickness is a hulking 13mm. That's really the biggest reason for its massive impression. Along with this profile is the combination of exceptionally durable materials such as sapphire crystal, ceramic insert, and full titanium case and bracelet. These are not all incredibly uncommon, but that case design is quite unique. All of these sharp edges, like a diamond, was cut to impress. When this was released back in the day, it was bold and eye-catching. But the more exposure Zelos got, the more that the Hammerhead got attention. One look at its collection and you'll immediately gravitate towards that unusual case design. On my 6¼ inch wrist, the case wears big as expected, but I'm confident I can carry this. Despite all this seemingly unyielding design, the Hammerhead has always been really good at switching straps. On a leather strap, this takes on a more casual and warm personality, with the brown harmoniously pairing well with the red dial. This strap is offered by Zelos itself, along with its quick-release spring bars, making it super easy to swap out. On this really thick aviator band, the chunky impression makes it more rugged and robust looking. It competes well with other rugged watches in the same category. Beside the BN0220, it actually looks visually more compact. Both are made of titanium and both are very lightweight to handle. Now let's look at another popular large watch to compare this with, and the Mudmaster fits that bill. It's clear, when it comes to outsizing your wrist and literally outliving you, G-Shock just dwarfs everybody else. In this context, the Hammerhead becomes the more elegant option. Well, if you haven't noticed, this really is just an excuse to show off Deech's watches. Thanks again, Deech. The most common thing about this watch is likely the movement inside. The all too familiar NH35 caliber is inside this Hammerhead, and I'm totally fine with that, because this watch is being bought not for its movement, but more for its aesthetic appeal. The caliber here actually helps bring the cost down, seeing how all of those funds could be diverted towards the more special materials in the lineup. Watch enthusiasts know, however, that the NH35 movement is still one of the most durable engines out there. It also seems that Zelos did something with the bezel here, as it didn't feel too light and has that nice tension to the touch. A thing that I miss though is that quick release spring bars, but I guess that's hard to do with these angled lugs. If you have more than one Zelos or watch, it's a good investment to have that cheap spring bar tool lying around. These new Hammerheads also feature the improved class micro adjust system that needs to be pushed to both extend and retract. It's a great update compared to the older versions. These are the expected features from the Hammerhead. Next, we'll check out what's new in this model. The dial geometry matches all of the sharp corners of the bezel and case. There is now a simplicity to the indexes and hands that makes it easier to enjoy. The case angles are very defined, and it's actually extended to the individual links of the bracelet. The clasp resembles Omega's twin trigger setup, and all of these parts are made of titanium. The case back is pretty much the standard affair, with just a solid plate with a stamped image of the Hammerhead. I'm okay with that because there's nothing really to see with the NH35 to warrant a display case back. And now for the main attraction. This crimson red dial is an adventure waiting to happen. The contrast between the dial elements and the surface itself is very pronounced. The amazing hammered and scratched texture of the dial is very voluminous and a mesmerizing show when showered by light. The texture also looks organic because of its uneven surface slices. Whether you're looking at this on day or at night, there's enough visual interest to keep you occupied. This is such a summer pleaser that you'd find a way to wear something lighter to offset its fiery demeanor. Some may feel intimidated by it, a feeling that needs to be conquered to enjoy a signature piece from this brand. But once you've harnessed that boldness within, you'll find a desirable icon like no other. It's chunky, it's angular, and it's a Zelos. It took some time to gain popularity, but it's now one of the most recognizable watch designs in the microbrand world. And that's part of the blueprint of Zelos' iconic watch case profile. And now it's time for your viewer comments. So we're going to begin with another Zelos related comment. this time from Lady Koala 208. She's here talking about the Zelos Mako that I recently reviewed. 100% agreed. I have 4 Zelos watches and love each and every one of them. I received my orange Mako a week ago, and that watch is now my ultimate Zelos favorite. Already looking forward to the next release. Now, this is just one of the evidence of the growing community around Zelos, and Elshan, the founder of Zelos, has been carefully cultivating this community. He's been frequently releasing Zelos models that's specific just for the Facebook group, and also some exclusive models from Sirius Watch Store. I don't remember the Sirius watches, and that exclusive watch store that he has a partnership with. And this kind of marketing model really is making headway for Zelos, and it's really creating a brand identity around this company. And the more that people are getting into Zelos, the more that it's becoming similar to the pattern of G-Shock fans. And now you can see that many of these enthusiasts are not owning just 1 or 2 Zelos. For one, have owned like 6 or 8 Zelos now at this point, and it's one of those collectible watches that's got the values. That's what we've often discussed, and it's got an interesting and appealing visual design that Elshan has been able to develop and instill to people. Like the Hammerhead, for example. The Hammerhead used to be raw and so many had such a busy dial, but now there's such a refinement to their indexes and their hands compared to before, and now people are starting to gravitate towards these watches, even though they look exotic back in the time. But now it's becoming more and more popular. More and more people are finding out about this brand, and no doubt this is just the beginning for Zelos, and we'll keep on seeing more collections as this brand is very, very strong in the microbrand market. And I think, there will come a point, if we're not there yet, that we're not going to consider them as a microbrand anymore. It's just inevitable with the growth that they're getting, or that they're making each and every year. Next comment. This is about that short about the Seamaster from Omega having that helium escape valve and how people are complaining about it. Abdullah Khan Rflow said that I have always loved it. Don't know why people complain. If you don't like, go get another watch without it. And yes, there's a lot of people, a lot of watches rather, that does not have this kind of helium escape valve, because most helium escape valves that you see on other watches are just like a circle notch or not a hole, but a rather and it really is just an escapement that's flush to the case side of the watch. But the Seamaster has this really protruding cone-shaped helium escape valve that's off-putting to many people, but to me, I don't find it an issue. I'm so used to chronographs and having all of these protruding parts on my watch cases, so it's really now becoming an iconic element of that case design. And that's what I see. That's what I've said before. Why complain about it? It's just there. It's part of the design. It makes it more identifiable to other people who are seeing what an Omega Seamaster, a modern Omega Seamaster is right now. And if you don't want that helium escape valve, you can always go to the Seamaster 300, which is the traditional Seamaster case. So Omega covers both of their bases, so just pick one of the two. If you don't like it, so be it. Melvin Ramirez 4790 asks, I am falling into the G-Shock rabbit hole. Am I okay? Is there hope for me? Thanks for another great content as always. Well, Melvin Ramirez, the sad truth is you have already fallen to the rabbit hole, and you'll be okay. Don't worry about it. You know, you can have more than one G-Shock. You can have a lot of G-Shocks if you wanted to. And the good thing about that is like you can always sell them off, so it's not really an issue. Of course, consult this with your wife and or your kids first. Make sure that you're not choosing G-Shocks over your family or over your dog. I can see that you have a dog there in your profile. It's quite a cute dog. And especially don't exchange them for cats. Definitely not. Okay? So you'll be fine. Don't panic. Just make sure that you have all of your your bills paid before buying your next G-Shock model. You can always sell them. It's not an issue. You can always wear 2 or 3 of them at the same time. So, right? You'll be okay. Northwest at Night says, totally jinx yourself. I can easily change. Well, first and foremost, I don't believe in jinx or jinxing something. I don't believe in that. So, by you saying that I jinxed it is irrelevant to me. Nor it doesn't have any effect to me. If you're like playing like a Pokemon card game, it's kind of like not effective. Or maybe not even, it has no effect on me, okay? And second, when I say I can easily change, I can truly say I can easily change because I'm a pirate. I can flip-flop whenever I want, okay? You're banned from the show. Aussie Expat Watches says, my real question is the best way to get one. He's talking about how to get the new 40th anniversary what's it called this? Reissues. No, not reissues. Remastered. There you go. The 40th anniversary remasters of G-Shock. Well, I've always said to stay away from eBay from these limited edition collections, at least for the first few months, because like scalpers out there will always like try and sell it above retail. The best way to get these limited edition G-Shocks is like go to the boutique, and they often are available. They're not really as limited as many would think, because if you have experience with the Moonswatch or even with the way limited edition Swiss watches work, they're not really limited in that same way. You can still buy them readily on the boutiques. They usually stock these with in the thousands, so you can always get them. And also, or maybe not 1,000, but hundreds per store, maybe like that, And the thing is, like, I had this contact in Singapore, and he himself like has walked into the store and bought these like readily, so it's not really an issue. The second way to buy them will be through the Facebook groups. The Facebook groups, there's like a number of Facebook groups for G-Shocks. You just go in there and look for really good deals. Most of them are enthusiasts as well, so they're not really going to try and profit out of you. Well, not too much, but at least profit in some way. And it's a lot less egregious than eBay. Not to mention that these remaster editions, everybody's still holding off. Again, like what I said, still holding off for the second half of the year, because the second half of the year is probably going to be the better set, and just in time for the holiday season. E28 Forever 30 says, you're right about the GA114. It doesn't speak to me either. I always found the GA110 series pretty ugly. Okay. Yeah, maybe ugly is such a harsh word. It's not so appealing to me, but let's keep this in mind. G-Shock has been not reprinting. Well, okay, yes, reprinting all of these models, the DW5600, the GA2100, the DW6900, the GA 110s, the GA 100s, because these are really the top selling G-Shocks. And I think Eric Spoelstra wore one while he was in the conference finals. So even famous people wear these, and it may be ugly to many people. It may be like meh, like me, to me, you know, but to many people, it is their gateway to G-Shock, and it's what they envision a G-Shock to be, the GA on 110. It is one of the best selling and most widely sold G-Shock in the world. So it may not be something that appeals to us, but a vast majority do have that as their G-Shock. And that's why you always see, like in these limited edition G-Shocks, you always see a GA100 there. It may not be appealing to us, but to many people it is. Bogrot69 says, I found that the 40th anniversary lineup pretty meh. Exactly. This is actually the same comment that I alluding to. Actually, the 35th had more pizzazz. My favorite is still the DW5035D Origin Gold Square. Not the most expensive of the bunch, but a beautiful piece all the same. Yes, also that's something that you should notice. You know, whenever there's anniversary edition of G-Shock, they always have the anniversary digits at the end of the model number. So if it's like a 5600, it's a 5640, 5635, 5630. So you can easily determine which anniversary edition this is. And what he's talking about here, the DW5035, is one of the really nice looking gold squares, and it's just amazing. And, you know, that's one of the squares that everybody loves. Deech loves them, Bograd loves them. And yeah, to be honest, also I felt the same way with the 40th anniversary. It's not a letdown. I can understand where they're coming from. It's a good value for collecting all four of them. That's why also I didn't want to talk about it. It's just like, okay, it has all of the model numbers engraved on the strap. Okay, big deal, but that's about it. Well, one thing that I didn't mention in the video, it also has that star on the 40th o'clock position, which is a nifty detail. I like that. And but still, it's not as interesting to me. Actually, the recrystallized models were a little bit more interesting than these 40th anniversary lineup. So again, hopefully at the latter half of this year, they have a better collection in store for us. Albert Sylvester 2981 says, I will say one thing, in all caps. I will never cry about buying a G-Shock watch, because G-Shock will always be number what? Number 4, number 2, number 10 in your list? You got to complete that. You're banned from the show until you tell me which number it is. Neo671 says, sorry man, but personally I find the anniversary releases lacking. Why are you sorry? You don't have to be sorry. You're not hurting my feelings. I haven't found one that's made a compelling argument, but I am waiting to see what the new arrangement will look like to celebrate gardening season. Okay, this is a gardening person. I recently ordered the GW S5600U 1JF. Yeah, I had to emphasize that, 1JF. I think the carbon strap isn't talked about very much at all. Well, I haven't experienced that. That's actually this model. I think the first one, not the U version, but the first one, was one of the first G-Shock YouTube videos that I've ever watched from Random Rob, and where he discussed the differences between the squares. And this was really one that caught my eye back in the day. It had that carbon fiber strap. It has bits of titanium, which is really interesting. It's actually one of the lightest G-Shocks for men, so it is really something to consider. And I am actually considering one of that, and it's actually still relatively easy to get. $250 regularly on eBay, you could still get one of these. You can even get one for a much lower price if you went the pre-owned route. But then if you look at how it aged, it didn't age well, because many of the transparent features have that yellowing that's happening on many transparent G-Shock resins. We all suffer from that. If you've been a G-Shock owner of a transparent resin, you know what I'm talking about. So this model also suffers from that, especially when it's fully used and scratched up. But if it's in pristine condition, it's a very, very nice looking G-Shock, especially when you see that carbon fiber strip underneath that resin. It's a really nice design, and that's something that we could consider. And going back to his comment, yes, some of them are lackluster right now. The 40th anniversary collections from G-Shock, there's value in there. Again, don't make that mistake of thinking that I hate that. I actually don't hate these 40th anniversary collections. It's just that it's not doing it for me enough to buy one. However, that may change in the near future, in the next few weeks. Let's see. I might get one of them, but it's a special one. So we'll have to look forward to that. We'll see. Next, True SF 345 says he's talking about the real best release of the year, the DWH5600 video that I made, that I re-uploaded because the first one got copyright struck. I still have 2 copyright strikes, so 1 more copyright strike and I'm out. So I'm really, really careful with these videos. But anyway, this is what he said. Instead of getting the DWH5600, get a Garmin. True SF 345. There's something that you have to know. You're in this channel right now. I mentioned that you suggested to me get a Garmin, right? I'm not a smartwatch fan. I'm getting a DWH5600 not for the smartwatch feature, but for the MIP display, and because it's a new G-Shock Square. And you have no right to tell me what to get, especially when you put a space in between Garmin and Dot. Okay, that's something offensive to me. Don't ask me why it's offensive. It's just offensive. It's like, go get a Garmin. Period. You're banned from the show. It's been a few weeks without banning people, so I'm kind of, trigger happy here. But hey, it's my channel. In the same video, MCDW5OR says, well, I've had my DWH5600 for all of 5 days, and guess what? The enter button has stopped working. This button lets you cycle through fitness modes and also confirms certain operations. So now I have a limited functionality on the watch. I'm going to return it for a replacement ASAP. Okay. There's a lot of things to unpack here, and this is a real world account right now. I didn't go to other sites as of yet with regards to the current experiences of people. Again, in part because I feel like envious. I'm supposed to have one by now, but I couldn't secure one, so I kind of lost out on that. But then again, that's one of the perils of living here in Aruba. And at the same time, I wanted to report on this because this is something that we all should be aware of. These are tech gadgets in a way, especially with some of these new releases, because again, they're new or first gen devices, and as much as it's not an issue before, it's something that we need to recognize. One, back in the day when we have these G-Shocks, we don't often get defects like these because they're just built very nicely, and the QC actually for G-Shocks are quite impeccable. They're really quite nice. I've owned a lot of G-Shocks through the years, and I've never had such experiences. I've had people talk about deterioration of materials, but not something like this, like in the first 5 days. No. And that's also because we don't often hear them because there's no internet back in the time. So maybe the issues are also apparent or also well known, but they're not as well known compared to now. Because now, whenever there's something wrong, you could easily post that in any post in YouTube and in Instagram or in Facebook, and everybody knows, right? But that doesn't remove the fact that these are first generation products, and oftentimes first generation products have these small kinks to it that the brand has never seen before. And it's always, I actually like adopted this kind of mentality when it comes to electronics. I always buy the second gen or the third, the next few generations of devices. I even buy them pre-owned. All of my iPhones have been pre-owned except for the very first one. That was the only exception. I wanted to get one for myself back in the time. But that's also the same with any other devices. If I could get them pre-owned, I don't mind, because these are still relatively durable and slightly used. It's just that, not as expensive. But when it comes to this, because this we wanted to get our first hands on these as much as we can. We're collectors, we're enthusiasts, so we dive right in, we buy them at day one. But there is a chance that you will get those defective ones, or at least these ones that have these function issues. It's a shame for MC here to experience it, and hopefully he gets a replacement soon. But that's the promising thing about here. He still wants to get a replacement rather than a refund, which is I think is a good sign of a good healthy sign of the design, that people actually still want to invest on it, want to keep trying to own one. And yeah, I mean these things do happen, and hopefully he gets compensated. And hopefully this is not a widespread issue, or like batches of these DWH 5600s have these issues. Hopefully not. No. I've heard other complaints online. I've read other complaints online, like why do they insist on proprietary charging cables where there's like already USB-C or USB, even micro USB, in other devices. Well, I don't know why, but that's how G-Shock designed it to be, and I think that is a reasonable request. Hopefully G-Shock listens and they use a more universal charging port next time. Still in the same video, Slow Blue Master said, "Not a word on the slow screen refresh rate. Looking at the please wait pop-up every once in a while." Okay, that's something that I've never heard before. I don't know if he's talking about the DWH 5600 having that kind of issue, or if he's talking about the MIP displays having that kind of issue. I personally have handled an MIP display watch already, and I find it gloriously beautiful because of that really legible and crisp LCD. That's why I wanted to get one of these. If I couldn't get one of these, I might get the GBD 200. I think that was the model, and I think I'm still going to get that, even if the refresh rate is slow, even if there's a please wait pop-up popping up every once in a while, because I'm not really going to use all of the features that often. I'm really going to use it as a digital jewelry. That's what G-Shocks to me are, fashion accessories. But I know people want their functionality also, because that's what G-Shocks are for. They're functional, they're supposed to be used like that, and I'm okay with that too. But this is a known issue, so if he's saying that that's a known issue with the other MIP models, so be aware. The slow refresh rate, and I've seen this before already, we also talked about it, that it's only a 1 second stopwatch timer. 1 second, not even a 1/10 of a second. A stopwatch, you always want that the millisecond counter. So I don't know why G-Shock couldn't resolve that, or if that's something that the display if it's the structure of the display itself, that's why there's this limitation. I don't know, but that is a shame to many people. But for me, I don't even use the stopwatch that often, but when I do, I really do count down to the tenths of a second. I really like that. So maybe when I'm timing my coffee, when it's in bloom or something, maybe I could use that could be useful enough for me. But let's see. Hopefully G-Shock finds a way to resolve that, and also that 1 second timer, so that next time it will be a lot more usable and a lot more presentable aesthetically. And now it's time for Mr. Zelos. No, Jason did not review a fake anything, people. Fake watches aren't sold on the internet with their own websites and company names and so on. It's called a homage, as in countless homage watches that look like a Submariner or a Navitimer or a Omega Seamaster, Speedmaster, Whalemaster, or a Patek Philippe Nautilus. And no self-respecting YouTuber is going to knowingly review a fake. Jeez. Thank you, Mr. Zelos, for coming to my rescue, and that is the truth. I will not review a fake watch in this channel. I don't know if I'm even going to get a fake watch in the first place just to compare it with the actual original watch. Why bother? I don't want to. I saw many YouTubers got copyright strikes because of that, and I don't want to get that third, inevitably destructive copyright strike. So thank you, Mr. Zelos, for coming to my rescue. You truly are the #1 watch pirate in the Caribbean, and you truly deserve this special honorary segment. And again, I'm looking forward to meeting you in the near future. And also, another thing from Mr. Zelos, he sent me a very beautiful watch, and I have a backlog of watch reviews now, so in the next few weeks or maybe months, you'll be able to see that special watch that Mr. Zelos sent me, and it's a thing of beauty, and it's a piece unique. Piece unique. Thank you, Mr. Zelos, and that is all for now. See you next time. Who was this? I forgot his. Who's this guy? I forgot his. Where's his comment? And we're banning a couple of you along the way. You know it coming. You know it coming. You know it coming.